And welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode.
Astral
Glide. Dude.
What is up, guys? I have missed you. I've been out for 2 months. I've missed you guys so much. I've missed you guys. I had a baby and I wasn't at work for 6 weeks. I'm exhausted, but I'm here.
It's good to have you back.
What my God, my microphone just destroyed me. I gotta hold it for the rest of the episode. That's how excited my microphone is that it's being used again. Oh my God. Do it. I'm in. I'm holding this. I'm holding this like a rock singer, too.
Man, that's awesome.
That is awesome. So, Astral Stew, how you guys been? Good? Good. I had a baby.
We know, and congratulations, and welcome back.
Thank you. Tell Toby I'm sorry I missed her.
How's she gonna give a gift to Josh too? Luckily, I got one
she
first.
gave Josh a gift.
Yeah, I can show it.
Gift to Gab.
I know, right? Here it is. I've been holding on to it. This is it before I cut it off of the magnet backing.
Oh yeah,
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Dear Toby, I know you don't watch our show unless you're on it, but I would like a gift.
Well, maybe next time I could be absent.
Yeah, I would love that. Then we'd have a good show. It would be great. Right.
Oh, I was going to go with how would that be any different?
I'd just be one less carrot in the stew.
Mm.
All right. So, gentle folk.
Just ignore me. I'm fixing my mic.
Gentle folk of the Shire. What are you doing, Stefan?
Trying to fix my mic.
We are here tonight.
And we're not starting over.
No, I want this all in there. It's loosely fixed. If I even touch my desk right now, it's going to fall over. Much like the vibration from a giant step.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So my video behind me is of ancient Egypt, where there are a lot of giants depicted, but there has actually been a lot of giants depicted even as like the 1900s and the 1800s, supposedly in digs in like California and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's like been hot in the news right now because like down in Alabama,
way down I'm
trying to find it here real quick. I should have had this prepared. The cave, there's been some cave drawings where it's been that they found that are here it is. So mysterious humanoids, 1,000-year-old Native American carvings of mysterious giant humanoids discovered on the ceiling of an Alabama cave. So this is recently found. The figures, 3 of which were humanoid in shape, are among the biggest ever uncovered in the Northern Americas. Some are more than 6 feet long, per a study presenting the findings published in a peer-reviewed journal, Antiquity, on Tuesday. And this comes from BusinessInsider.com, but it's all over the place. These carvings were sculpted in soft mud in the cave ceiling, which is pretty brave in my opinion. But like we haven't seen giant stuff in a while since like that most people believe is a hoax of the giant skeletons that were found. Like that was huge news. Well, this is the first time in quite a while that we're finding something, and they're quite fascinating. I've been looking at them, and they're pretty fascinating and kind of creepy. One kind of looks like a big old scorpion dude, like a humanoid scorpion.
So, there's lots of discussion in ancient texts and things around giants. I mean, you got the famous
Bible,
right? You got the famous story in the Bible of, the
Nephilim.
Goliath and Nephilim, and that's even one of the stories that I've even read around the origins of giants is that they were the initial offspring of angels and humans was giants, and so over the millennia of generational defects and et cetera, they've whittled themselves down to 6 foot tall people as opposed to 10 foot tall people. But yeah,
right. Well, and that's the question: is what is considered a giant? Is it a human? That's tall.
This is where that I like. Okay, this is me being cranky, but I was like, yeah, they're over 6 feet tall. Well, shit. So is Stefan. Likely, you're not a giant. That's not giant by any means, but that's just me being party pooper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally about giants. Yes.
Yeah, no, and that's my thing. So are giants humans that are just really, really tall, or are they a completely different species? For example, in the Bible, like we talked about, the Nephilim, which were giants, were spawns of angels and humans, and they were giants. They were considered giants. And I always think of the Brave Little Tailor cartoon with Mickey Mouse. That giant was huge.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of
there is one in our common story, isn't there? I forgot about Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
Yep, Jack and the Beanstalk, Gulliver's Travels. He was the giant.
Right.
That's what I love about Gulliver's Travels. Is like he's like, I'm just the regular guy. Oh my God, I'm the giant.
Favorite TV/movie depiction of Gulliver's Travel? What's your favorite? You got.
I mean, the Jack Black one's pretty good, but I gotta go back to the OG cartoon done by Fleischer Studios.
What about the one with Ted Danson?
That's what I was about to say. Just trying to jump in here, being polite. What about the Ted Danson one?
I like the Ted Danson one.
Sometimes you got to go where everybody knows your name, man.
Hey, and also shout out to the frost giants of Norse legend. They play a huge factor in that, as well as Hindu giants as well. Like because Shiva sometimes is reported being 9 foot tall or 12 foot tall, and so the avatars of the gods are often depicted as bigger than regular people. Also
in Norse mythology, the dwarfs are not really depicted as being small. They still live underground, but they're also usually depicted as being more giant-like as dwarfs. So that's interesting too. And then what is it? One of the things that I was reading recently about the whole hybridization thing of humans is that one of the species that we're supposedly been bred with is considered giant. They're like 9 feet tall. You got Sasquatch, often shown as being between 10 and 12 feet tall.
Yeah, Sasquatch would be considered a giant. What I stumbled upon here real quickly is the Greek myth, which talks about giants, that they were the children of Uranus, the sky, and Gaia, the earth, but were almost never born. Afraid the giants would be too powerful, Uranus would not allow them to be born, imprisoning them instead inside Gaia's womb.
Here's a name you probably haven't heard in a while: Paul Bunyan.
Oh yeah, if we want to get
talking
into
about
American
other
lore.
Americana lore.
Yeah. Hey, Paul Bunyan. Yeah, he was big. So was Blue. He got lucky that he found another giant creature. His ox.
Well, and weren't the Titans? The pre-Greek gods. The Titans were
the pre-Olympians. Yes.
Humongous.
Yeah. And so the term itself derives from Latin gigantes of Greek mythology. They were savage creatures often depicted with men's bodies terminating in serpentine legs. Ooh, got some old snake legs coming at you.
Right, 2 snake legs or just like 1 snake appendage underneath?
I'm gonna say 2 because that's extra creepy.
Would they look like they're on roller skates as they're sort of like slithering along?
Yeah.
Maybe that's
totally
where octopus come from.
No, they are true aliens.
Yeah,
sharing the planet with us.
They are. And then of course we talked about we talked about Norse mythology. Israelite spies in Canaan saw giants. This was in Numbers 13:32-33. Cornwall in Britain, they have their own giant figures of Gog and Magog. Are said to represent 2 Cornish giants made captive by Brutus, the legendary founder of Britain, and that's in London. Are these statues?
Well, don't forget
you're about to make an Andromeda reference right there, but still cool.
And don't forget about Pete and Repeat. They were sitting on a log, but Pete fell off, and so you know who was left.
Don't forget about the movie Little Giants.
I was going to go Arnie, the strongest man in the world. That's where I was.
What about
as we pop culture our way through this mess?
Big friendly giant, BFG.
Oh yeah, the BFG.
Yeah, BFG. So why do you think
David and Goliath?
Why do you think David and Goliath? Why do you think that we as a world culture have always been obsessed with giants, things that are larger than us, and to be fair, this could be anything, could be from 6 feet to 100 feet, right? Or is it just an abnormality? Like my family, my grandmother's cousin was the tall man at the Barnum and Bailey Circus. He was 8.5 feet tall.
Wow.
So he was in the freak show there as the tall man. So that's where my height comes from, is my grandmother's side. But why are we so fascinated with things that are outside of the average?
Takes me back to college and art class and being like, why is this art? It's just a gigantic clothespin. But heck, look at a lot of art, like making the small large.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll look at Alice in Wonderland.
We are fascinated with it.
Mm-hmm.
Alice falls down the hole. She has to, eat something to grow bigger, drink something to grow small, and there's,
well, and it's interesting because it goes the opposite way as well, right? I mean, now we're in this phase where like what's really, really popular that all the kids you see them on TikTok and stuff is like those miniature just products of like Tide, of Hostess cupcakes. They're all just miniature and you put them on the little shelves. Like it's all just miniature.
Well, same thing.
Now I'm having flashbacks of us in the doll museum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, but I mean, our generation had micro machines.
Right.
Remember? Like,
we also had David the Gnome.
Right. Hot Wheels weren't small enough.
David the Gnome.
And the Littles? What about the Littles? Talking
Right?
about things we haven't heard of in a while.
What about the
Littles.
What's the one where they like live in a house in England and there's like the people that live inside the walls and is that the Littles?
The Littles.
Is that what the Littles is? Okay. Whatever, I couldn't remember the name.
You do this every time. You're like, oh, guys, you just reminded me of something. It's exactly what you were talking about. That's what you just reminded me of.
It's a good thing I had that idea then.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, it looks, I don't know. Because then do we go out into the the sub creatures, right? Like ogres, trolls. Do we start looking at things like that as giants, or are we strictly looking at humanoids?
Well, I mean, I guess
is a whale a giant, or is it just whale sized?
Right.
Well, in comparison to other whales, the blue whale is bigger.
So is it gigantic?
The blue whale is the giant of whales.
It's the giant of whales. God, I wish I had enough like English history in my mind to make a joke about whales.
Joke about whales right now.
Well, yeah, okay.
He's Welsh.
There's another. And depending on the lore, the Kraken is not always a Cthulhu type creature. Sometimes it's just a man. Sometimes it's just a man. Wasn't it like a big, like the Kraken and the Cyclops were almost interchangeable in Clash of the Titans, weren't they?
No.
That's not how I remember it, but okay.
Yeah,
no. I had a baby.
No. Maybe watched it on a small screen and until they look the same. I don't know.
But definitely when it comes to David and Goliath, I definitely feel like Goliath was really literally, you talk about one where I think really was probably just a 6'5" big guy, right? Is probably David and Goliath. Because I mean, David was definitely known to be a small in stature dude, especially when he was younger. So I mean, even at let's say 5 feet, he might think that was a giant.
Wolverine's only 5'3".
Yeah. So let me take this to a more of a sciencey side.
Okay.
Are people getting smaller or taller in general?
I would say taller. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm biased because I'm 6'5", but I definitely see a lot more taller people, and I notice cars are getting bigger and bigger for us. Car built before like 1990, dude, I can barely fit into.
Well, that was
doorways.
But in the 80s, you also had the gas crisis left over from the 70s. That's why all cars were built small in the 80s for fuel economy. But you look before then, you had big cars. Look at the 1972 Chevy Nova. It was one of the largest.
Sure, they were big, but they weren't they were long and stuff because of the trunk and stuff, but my knees still don't fit in them older cars. Like I'm still crammed in there pretty
gigantic, but not a giant.
Yes.
So I feel like I use it like race, like a race of giants. Whenever I refer to it like that, I think
see
of them
that
as a collective.
And that was my initial question: is it just tall humans, or is it a separate race? And I think that it's a separate race.
So the reason I was going with my question was, like during the dinosaur times, scientists think that the reason dinosaurs were able to grow so big is because there was a lot more oxygen concentration in the atmosphere, so their muscles and stuff were extra oxygenated, and B, that there might have been a little less gravity on the earth, and so they weren't as much pulling them down. And so, could we be experiencing gravity fluctuations to where there are periods of time when there's less gravity, and so humans can grow taller, and then there are periods of time when gravity starts to swing the other way and human size kind of decreases because of that?
Maybe. Could be. I don't know about all that, but I definitely know times are changing. I mean, another thing, you look at old homes, the doorways are much smaller. I've hit my head. In fact, Santosh's old house, they had an addition that was built, and so it had a higher door frame than the one in the original. So I walk out of there, it goes, and I'm good. But I go into the living room, it's lower because it's on the original house, and I would be like, bam, every time, because they were built at two different heights, because it was just different times that were built with that same thing. Ceilings. I mean, now you see, you're seeing 10-foot ceilings way more than you used to, right? 8 was the common thing, but you go back even further, some of those really old tenement buildings, they're like 6-foot ceilings, 7-foot ceilings. They're really low. So I would say we're getting taller, but as we get older, we do shrink. I mean, that is a fact. Gravity does take its toll on our bodies over many, many decades, and you end up losing an inch or two by the end.
Yep. My grandmother, when she was 35 years old, she was close to 5'8", and now she's barely over 5 feet. So, and she's in her 80s. So yeah.
Mine can't stand up tall, so I don't know how tall she is.
You're gonna have to lay her down. Put a ruler next to her, see how long she slept.
Go get a couple of those feet ruler things.
Take her fishing, and then when you're taking pictures of your catches, just hey, Granny, lay down with these, please, for size reference.
Take her fishing. Well, if you take her fishing, she's obviously going to be taller than she really is then.
Yeah.
Because no one ever tells the truth about how big the fish really is.
It was this
the tall
big.
tales of fishermen.
Yep. 28 inches, boy. Let me tell you, this thing had the mouth the size of a bowling ball. It's just a little ass sunfish.
Yeah.
How tall is your granny? About 3 catfish.
Yeah.
3. Now you counting the whiskers?
Anywho, have we
we did it. That's the episode. Goodbye.
Okay, cool.
Bye, Josh.
But no, can we move to a different topic?
If you want to, or my question was ultimately going to be, if it is a different race, where did they come from?
Well, they could have always been here.
Okay, but where did they come from?
Where did we come from?
Well, we came from apes.
Did we?
Yeah. Do you want me to go through what biology class is? Right. So we have that. But what about giants? If they're a separate race, what were they spawned from? Like dinosaurs, King Kong?
I don't know. I mean, that like the Denisovans and Neanderthals. Like, there's been enough human diversity between. Well, I was gonna say it's not between species, between races of humans.
Yeah.
And if you,
which has always made me wonder about Sasquatch being left over from.
Well, and I mean, you're taking a pretty hard line here that you are accepting that that we humans evolved from apes. There is the whole concept of the missing link, that they can't really, there's a strong evidence that we came from apes, but there's the piece missing. That
the missing link is sausage.
All beef or
pork.
Pork. Okay. lips and
Yeah,
assholes.
lips and assholes.
So,
but I mean,
imagine explaining baloney to intergalactic beings.
We are baloney.
I mean, like, I wouldn't. I would just be like,
actually,
I
we're
would
a
just be
flesh
like,
donut.
try this and don't ask. You're gonna love it. Just don't ask.
Blah 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 blah. What happened to you? I went to a party and somebody slipped me a piece of bologna.
You might want to get it checked out at the urgent care if somebody's slipping you bologna.
You might want to stop going to those parties. I couldn't even joke around. Damn it, it was just too much.
But yes, I'm saying if we evolved from apes or not, maybe we came here from another planet. Is that where giants from? Were they the original inhabitants of the Earth? Where are they now? Did they, de-evolve, or did they interbreed with us like the Neanderthals and eventually?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe they over time, they've lost, like through inbreeding or whatever, or whatever, they've lost some of their height, and now all we're left with is 6'5" people instead of 10-foot people.
I mean, watch basketball. I mean, like I said, they're getting taller, so yeah, it makes you wonder if that's the case, if that DNA is starting to become more prevalent again.
Well, if going through the alien hypothesis piece, if somebody's trying to reinstitute old genomes, so I don't know. I mean,
how tall can we get before our knees buckle? That's the question. Well, the weight of gravity.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. Is when you look at all these players that are really tall, like 7 foot, close to 8 foot tall, and you look at it like older, that when they get older in life, they have a lot of like significant medical problems. I mean,
I've got severe knee problems. I mean, just from 6'5", yeah, and then I put weight on top of that as well. It is definitely harder.
And the fact that to your point, a lot of ceilings are so low, they end up with like weird neck things from constantly having to bend over all the time.
Concussions.
So.
Or frame concussions. Sounds like an album.
It does. So it's Weezer's new album. All right, Josh, I know you're anxious to move on to something Christian. So what do you got?
Somebody.
You're the one that brought up the Bible.
You just made me throw up in my own asshole.
You bring it up more than I do, but somehow it gets labeled on me. Everybody who's watching, they know. Mm-hmm. Anyways, no, I just wanted to. I've been watching a lot, and I think Stefan, you have. I don't know if Santosh, if you have or not, but been watching a lot of the new Star Trek stuff.
Yeah, same.
Discovery, Strange New Worlds just premiered recently.
So
fantastic.
Good.
Is it? Because I haven't wanted to check it out yet.
Oh, it's really good.
It's very good.
Is it
really good?
I love Discovery, and I need to catch up on
Strange New Worlds is good, and it gives you that feel of the original series.
Yep.
It's good.
I'm not digging the. I don't know. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Okay, we'll come back to it later. Picard, the second season of Picard. A lot of it took place in like 2025, which is right around the corner. So it's just what I wanted to say about it all, though, is that we've talked about before. I don't know if on here, but at least on the podcast, Convergence Enigma, we've talked about it, about the possibility that Gene Roddenberry was a part of an organization called the Nine.
Oh, the Nine Unknown. And I'm reading that book right now, Josh. It's pretty interesting.
Bring me up to speed.
So, Stefan, go. You've been reading the book.
Oh, great. Thanks. No, the Nine. So the book is written by this guy. So it's one in a series of Indiana Jones style type adventures, written in the like 1918 or 1920s. That type of adventure, right? Well, they surmise that there is this group of people called the Nine. They are I can't remember. It was like an Indian king or prince that started this, but they are a group that has some people believe continue to this day that keep an eye on things, so to speak. They suppress information if they feel like society can't handle the new science that's out there or things like that. Each of them has their own realm. So one is science, society, like one is like arts, one is this, one is that, like, and they all meet. They all don't even know who each other are. But when one dies, another person takes over and things like that. But they are, think Illuminati in a lot of ways.
Illuminati meets the Muses.
Yeah, kind of. But they have a lot more power and control. I'm not like super far into the book, but they, they believe that they are the reason magic was suppressed, and why science got pushed more and things like that. And there's this belief, like we said, that Gene Roddenberry was part of this this Council of Nine.
And so
part of reason why he did Star Trek was to push some of that technology that already exists, but they have suppressed it. And it's a way to slowly like bring it into this world.
And so even though Roddenberry, of course, died, supposedly, he could be out there, you never know. But even though Roddenberry died, that he put in place kind of like the, let's keep Roddenberry's dream alive by continuing in his absence, these kind of, kind of a drive to introduce these new concepts or whatever. And so, in watching a lot of Discovery, even though it's very futuristic in its setting, a lot of Discovery, especially Picard, and even some of the Strange New Worlds, really puts a lot of new concepts in the person's, in the viewer's face for how to think about first contact, for example, with the species who may not be ready for first contact, or things like that. And so if Roddenberry and all of his workings were an effort to prepare us for the inevitable contact that's coming, and is it coming in 2025? If that's why the second season of Picard was set in that time frame, is it all to prepare us? Like, is there some inner working within some of the folks of Hollywood to subtly introduce and prepare the human race for contact?
The episodes, but this sounds very similar to the new Mike Myers thing out on Netflix.
I've seen it, but I haven't watched it yet. But I know what you're talking about.
The Pentaveret or something like that.
It was about that secret organization. And this, I did pull this up so I could add a little more information that it was Emperor Ashoka, which I should have remembered, an Indian Emperor Ashoka so this book is written by Talbot Mundy. Excuse me. It concerns the 9 Unknown Men, a secret society founded by the Mauryan Emperor Ashoka around 270 BC to preserve and develop knowledge that would be dangerous to humanity if it fell into the wrong hands. These unknown men were entrusted with guarding 9 books of secret knowledge, and these men were the embodiment of good, and they face up against 9 Kali worshippers. And it goes on and on. That's where it's kind of where they're able to find kind of like the first real talk about it. There's ancient texts that kind of talk about it too, especially with Emperor Ashoka and things like that. But it was really this book right here that really, and this is another one of those shaver mystery type things where there's a lot of people think that Mundy was actually writing about real things. And then it has continued to go from there. Even TV shows and things like that. They also claim that Pope Sylvester II had met these 9, and he was one of the ones that insisted on their existence. I mean, this just goes on and on and on. The 9 Unknown were the final dedicatees mentioned in the dedication of Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible in 1969. So the 9 Unknown is, now that Josh and I have opened that door to looking at it, I now see them everywhere. Like, they're popping up in every damn thing that I'm reading and looking into, and just everything, man. Like, it's crazy. They even popped up in Montauk, like one of the Montauk books, and just getting into occult stuff. And I was quite surprised because didn't we talk to Alan Greenfield about it? And he was like, I have no idea.
I think I related the Secret Chiefs to the Nine Unknown, and he was like, I don't know if there's a connection there. So,
oh, okay, never mind then. So, but yeah, it's look up the 9 Unknown Men and see what you find. It's quite interesting.
So, but not so much on the 9 Unknown piece, but more or less, do you think, or I guess, is there a possibility? It's a dumb question because there's always a possibility, but that, as a part of the Brookings report, that said we're not ready to know, as a part of that, as a part of a plan for how do they get us ready to know, is that an introduction to concepts via TV and movies?
Controlled disclosure.
Yeah,
right.
In a very public way, and instead of having to come from the government, it's gonna be one of those things where we're so used to seeing it that it just doesn't phase us.
Well,
when it happens.
Look at right now with the disclosure that we had, with the 3 UFO videos that came out, the UAP videos from the American government. Why the United States, like society, isn't collectively losing their damn minds is proof that we have already done that. Because if these videos had come out 30 years ago, it would have been insane. Yeah. Everyone would have lost their mind because media would have treated it differently, and like just the society would have gone wacko, right? Mm-hmm. I think they would have. Because that's kind of where we were. But now we're so inundated with science fiction. We're so inundated with UFOs because social media and things like that nobody believes anything. So they just go, oh, yeah, okay, I guess there are things out there. Probably the government. It's fine. No one's going to believe anything.
The internet has been a big game changer in that as well. Mm-hmm. Like the ability to control and suppress stuff. Like the internet throws a beautiful monkey wrench into that. But, in a time of false news or whatever it was called.
Fake news. Yeah.
Fake news. Yeah. It's just as easy to disbelieve. I'm the first thing I see in every comment thread of anything that I find interesting. Nice CGI, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I know. So I just posted a video.
We keep ourselves down. We don't need the government to do it. Shit.
Yeah. So, the video I just posted came from a very reliable source. A friend's stepfather who is like the most normal, just blue collar dude ever. And I can't tell you, I posted these on a number of paranormal Facebook groups, and I cannot tell you the amount of people talking about how fake it is and what a hoax it is. And I'm like, I can't say, look, y'all, this guy doesn't make that kind of money. Like he's 72 years old. He's not out there creating CGI for you to see, like blah, blah, but they just are immediately, he's like, too good to be true means it is. And I'm like, and that was just that proof that Josh and I are always talking about. No matter how good the evidence actually is, it'll never pass unless people see it with their own eyes. A video, a picture will never suffice anymore.
Like we have to have, a Hands Across America, where it gets everybody in America out on the front lawn, holding hands with the person next to them. And then 18 UFOs have to fly a crisscross pattern across the United States so that everybody sees.
Well, I mean, that's why the Phoenix Lights is such a powerful event, because it turned Phoenix into a hotbed of believers.
Yeah.
Because thousands of people saw these lights. Right. Thousands of them. And I went to this Phoenix Lights 25th anniversary event where they showed this documentary and all this stuff. And there were this huge panel of people, Alice Cooper, all kinds of people talking about their experiences. And they're all similar but different. Some people saw them just feet above their head. They could see the metal of the ship, the whole 9 yards. Like, it's not just people going, oh, look at them fancy dude heads up in the sky. That's not just what it was. People had very close encounters with this thing. And I mean, hundreds of people had very close encounters with this thing. So, but there are still people who are like, nope. The government said that they were flares, therefore it's a flare. So,
well, this is not a weather balloon anymore.
Or swamp gas.
Swamp gas. Good old swamp gas.
Somebody joked on one of the threads on one of the Facebook groups. They're like, well, obviously that's swamp gas or a weather balloon.
I didn't realize.
But yeah, man. I mean, one of these guys like posted an article from Skeptic Inquiry, like that Skeptic review thing. And I'm like, already the fact, the debunker website. He's like, well, this is very similar to this, so therefore it's debunked. I'm like, well, I got another ghost video. Obviously, it's very similar to this ghost video, therefore it's proof. Right? How come it don't work in reverse?
Well, obviously, you're pretty upset about this.
I am. I haven't even responded, Josh, because I can't. Because just like talking to Dave Scott the other day and talking about how politically charged it feels now in the paranormal community, because skeptics just live on these boards, debunkers living and looking for it. And it feels like politics. It feels like the right wing nuts that hang out in the left wing groups and vice versa that are there just to troll. There's these trolls, and it's like,
blame Houdini. Like,
yes,
the OG debunker.
Yeah,
he made it seem cool. Now everybody's got to do it.
I know, he was the OG debunker and then became a big ass believer in the end. That's what's funny, and people forget that.
J. Allen Hynek.
Yep, Hynek. There's another one who became a huge believer in the end because of the everything that he saw. Yep.
So, all right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in for this episode of Astral Stew. We talked giants, Nephilim. I'm sure there was some inappropriate comment in there somewhere. The first person who finds it and comments the timestamp wins a sticker. I don't know. So, Stefan and I, you can catch us on the Convergence Enigma with Josh and Stefan. Santosh, you can find at santosdavid.com. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And you just celebrated 2 years of psychic sleep, my friend. Congratulations.
It's coming up. You're right. When this airs, it'll have been in the past. That. Yeah, two whole years, 104 weeks working on a project with that.
Fantastic.
Congratulations, my friend. Thanks, congratulations.
Guys.
And you all need to sign up for one of those because they are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sessions are always Sunday at 8. Well, always. As long as I've been going, keeping it strong, it'll be Sundays at 8. So don't want to test the fates. Just not tempted. Like,
as long as he doesn't get eaten by a giant.
But getting eaten out by a giant.
Well, on that note, we'll see you guys later.
Good night, everybody.